sir. You're about to see something really special.
Really thought this part of my life was behind me. Frenzy disappeared with the drinking 3 years ago. Why now? This makes no sense, and I'm right on the verge of freaking out.
Back from your life.
These people can be animals.
What you burn.
Thingy's out.
Some bitter things you should never
Good cheese.
learn. Wallow through the days.
Remember, cosplay's not consent.
So here's to me. Congratulations, me. Yay, me.
This would all be so much easier if I was hammered. Hammered.
Won't be there anymore.
Right.
You can take away the anger, but you leave behind the pain. It's your soul I
New ventures are always scary.
feel till I'm melting
Blah, blah, blah. Something positive and uplifting.
tomorrow. But the hurt will still remain. In your soul I'll live forever till I'm melting in.
Don't miss our new film, The Love Song of William H. Shaw, coming soon to a streaming service near you. Hey everyone, this is Cliff from Talking Pondo. Just wanted to give you a quick heads up about spoilers on the show. We do talk about the films in a certain amount of detail, so you may want to watch the film first and then come back if you're not a fan of spoilers. Also, every now and then there's a little bit of adult language, so we wanted to give you fair warning on that. We hope you enjoy the episode, and we really appreciate you listening. Welcome to Season 2 of Making Pondo and Talking Pondo. Talking Pondo is a podcast where Cliff and Marty give each other a film to watch and talk about them in detail. Some episodes will include a special guest. Making Pondo is a podcast where Cliff and Marty talk to people they have worked with and discuss their experiences on set.
Today on Making Pondo, we talk with Gia Gerardo, who played Tanya in The Love Song of William H. Shaw.
All right, Marty, we're back.
All right, and we're back. Once again, it's another episode of Making Pondo, where we talk to people we've made movies with.
That's right. And who do we have this week?
This week we have Gia Gerardo coming to us directly from Ohio.
By way of LA via Tucson.
By way of Tucson, yes. World travel.
Well, welcome, Gia. Thank you
Hi.
for showing up.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on board. This is
Yeah.
awesome. And congratulations for your podcast. This is awesome. This is
Oh,
cool.
thank you.
It's fun. It's been a lot of fun. It's a kind of an excuse for us to be able to kind of keep in touch with the people that we're working with and kind of keep the movie juices going until we get our next project up and running.
Absolutely.
So you played Tanya in
I
our
did
last
do
film.
that. That was a lot of
You were great.
Thank you.
I wish I had actually been there for the shooting. Unfortunately, we due to COVID and the way that the shooting was broken up, couldn't do it. So but I heard it was a lot of fun, and you have one of the best lines in my opinion in the film.
Which one?
Which is the one about your sarcasm being a cup of coffee. You'd hold. What's the line, Marty? Your sarcasm is a thing of beauty. I wish it was a cup of coffee, and I would hold it until it grew cold, and eventually
Until
grew cold in my
inevitably
hands.
it got cold, or
Until inevitably it got cold. Yeah, and then he goes, I don't know what to say to that, and just walks off. That line gets a laugh. Well, I've been to 2 or 3 festivals now and sat with audiences and watched it, and that line always gets a gut
Oh,
laugh.
yay. I'm glad to hear
Always
that.
gets a gut laugh. You nailed it.
Oh my gosh, you have no idea what that means to me because I struggle with comedy. At least I think I do. And I feel like I could never I feel like I never nail it. I feel like I'm not good at comedy. So that means the world. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it was great.
That's good. That was a lot of fun. A lot of fun on set that day.
There was you worked really well with Jeff too. There was an interesting chemistry at play there.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that scene of the two of you where, he puts on the lab coat and sir, you're about to see something pretty special. And, that's some good stuff. Yeah.
And it's funny because I don't think that scene was supposed to go that way. I don't think we were supposed to be, because I remember when we did it, I think you, Marty, said, "Oh, that's not the way I was thinking, but it's actually looking pretty good." I don't think we were supposed to act like we were interested in each other. I really don't know. I don't know, but I think we took it to a different
Hmm.
area that it was meant to be. But I guess it worked out pretty good. I had a
Mhm.
lot of
It did.
Oh yeah.
I also love your excuse me or pardon me, you're pardoned.
fun.
Go away, weirdo. Nobody cares. That whole the way you just brush the customer off is fantastic. And we've been trying to do that in e- all these movies, and I think in the third one's the one where we kind of nailed it perfectly. This idea of the comic book person who just doesn't really want to deal with you. I know you're here to buy something, but I don't want to deal with
Nice. I'm glad to hear that. It was an honor. It was, like I said, I keep saying it. It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun doing that. I'm so glad I was on it. Um, yeah.
Yeah, all that stuff plays really well. Yeah, like Cliff was saying, every screening, it's just people come away with some of the Adam and Tanya stuff being some of their favorite parts. They remark to us, so
Yep. Yep.
it'll be great when early next year. Hopefully it gets put out to where people can see it on a
Oh, yay. That's what I'm
wider
waiting
scale.
for.
So yeah,
Yeah,
we're getting there.
I guess we can say we won't mention who just yet, but we've signed a distribution deal for the trilogy of films.
Oh,
We just the contract still ink is still wet on the contract, so we're in the deliverables phase, getting them everything they need so that they can go start pitching to platforms and putting us. It's a global world. It's a worldwide distribution. So basically,
no way.
anywhere it's English speaking, hopefully people will be. So if you have friends in the UK or Australia or someplace like that, Canada,
Mhm.
you can point them to it. Hopefully, pretty soon. And if it does well, who knows? Maybe we'll M&E a couple of them and get them to other countries with some subtitles or some foreign, some
Hmm.
That
dub
would be
tracks or something.
amazing. That would be
But yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're super excited about that. So
Congratulations. See,
yeah,
just moving forward and just doing big
yeah.
things. That's amazing.
Well, and you'll be able to point all your friends to Tubi and say, "There I am,"
There I am.
or if I don't know if it's Tubi or whatever platform it's
Whatever
going
it
to be.
is.
Who
Yeah.
knows? Yeah. Hopefully, it's a bunch. I mean, I'd like to see it
Mhm.
saturated on, at least 5 or 6 types of platforms. That'd be nice.
Mhm. I heard it's doing really well. It's winning a lot of awards and getting nominated and all that. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's pretty surprising. We just won for best feature at the Origins Gaming Festival. That was a big deal.
Yeah, that
Oh,
one
So
really surprised me. It's like, wow, best feature. That's like of the whole festival. Wow, okay.
holy moly. I'm
yeah,
so
People seem to
lucky that
like
I
it.
got to be on that one. And I
Yeah.
worked on the first one, I want to
I was
say.
gonna say Revenge of Zoe. You were there for
Yeah.
the Timothy Zahn
I
part.
was like a
Yeah,
PA. Yeah,
yeah.
I was only
oh,
there
that's
helping out.
right.
Yeah,
Another day that Cliff wasn't there, strangely enough. Yeah.
yeah.
It's weird. You've been worked on 2 movies, and I'm kind of a big part of this stuff. And you and I have never
No,
physically been in the same room
no,
together.
yeah. Yeah, you were not there either that day that I was doing PA. That's true. So you're just avoiding me. I get it.
Yeah, well, I don't like that.
No,
I don't
Gia's
like
gonna
that.
be there. We're not gonna be
No, 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 no. I can't do that.
there. That's great.
So that was basically what we flew Tim in for one day, and I didn't pick him up at the airport. I think Eric might have. I don't know if you were in the car for all of that. I just remember meeting
Timothy's
everybody
on.
back at Jeff's old house and building that back room and spending
Hmm.
a couple hours just letting Tim do his thing on the telephone there. And then I guess you all had a dinner after before he went back home, but I came home
We
and
did.
immediately fell asleep. And so I woke up much later and he was already gone by then.
Oh.
So I was like, well, at least you all got to see him off. But that was a
What was
fun
dinner
day.
with Timothy's on like? That must have been fun.
It was very nice. His wife was there,
Hmm.
and just very down to earth, and it's so funny about him talking about him being down to earth. When I met him, I had no idea who he was, and
Right.
we were on a like a panel at the Tucson Con. That
Ah,
was called Tucson Con. So I was
Tucson, yeah.
part of the panel with Jeff and other people. And all of a sudden, this man approaches me, and it's him. And he starts asking me about myself. And I just tell him, I'm an actress and I do a few things here and there. And then I was like, who, and I'm sorry, who are you? And he said, oh, I'm just a writer. Like, he didn't even.
The humility, right?
Yeah, and I almost let him go because he didn't look like he wanted to talk about himself. And I just said, what do you write? And then when he said, I was like, oh my God.
Oh. I
Yeah,
created a character for Star Wars called Thrawn. You may
yeah.
have heard of him.
That pretty much saved the whole
Yeah, the whole
franchise.
franchise.
Yeah, but very, very down to earth, and it was a lot of fun. I know that we were joking around when we were having dinner and saying that we were gonna make another movie, and I was gonna be the villain, and I don't know, it was crazy. Yeah, his wife was amazing too. She was a lot of fun.
Cool. Yeah, we got to have him back for the third movie, so he comes back one more
Oh,
time.
really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, he shows up just as he's a teleconference to guests at the con, right? So he shows up on a video screen and introduces the latest Frenzy movie, and you find out he's a writer and producer of the Frenzy movies now.
Oh, wow, that's
Billy. Yeah, Billy doesn't do it anymore, and so he's kind of taken over.
Holy moly!
Yeah, so
That's amazing.
It's interesting because we kind of wrote him as like not a bad guy, but we didn't write him as like we wrote him as a guy who's kind of sneaks in and is kind of taking over a franchise a little bit, right? But in reality, he probably would never do that. He's a super nice guy.
Oh gosh, absolutely. But he did such a good job. He did a really good job on that scene. I remember that. I was like, oh my gosh. I think we were joking. Did we have a cat on his lap, or were we joking around about putting?
We were joking about he
we
should.
were joking around. That's right.
Yeah, you should. Yeah.
Because he looked perfect. Like he could just be petting this cat while he was saying his lines. It was just
he gives this look at the end when he hangs up from was Ira he's talking to. He gets that look of like this kind of devious look of foreshadowing on his face. I loved it.
And we got lucky. Acting either, so
yeah, and we got lucky. I mean, most of the people that we worked with gave really fantastic performances.
Oh yeah,
didn't really have to drag it out of anybody. I think maybe there were a few scenes where we had to kind of massage the work material, but I think that was more the material than it was the actor. In certain times where you just go, well, let's just change it a little bit. It's not working. But yeah, we got lucky.
That's awesome. That's great.
Like you remember in one of your scenes you were supposed to answer the phone in the middle of the scene at the comic book shop, and the train kept going past, and we could never get the shot, so we just you never answer the phone in the finished version of the movie. It was one of those like, it just works better doing it this way.
It's too much work to wait for these damn trains. Just take it off. Always something. Always something. We were just downtown for the last couple of weeks, downtown Cleveland, and they were filming Superman. And they were actually filming it around the building where we were at. And some of the scenes were built inside, but there's so much noise down there. There's always sirens going off, cars honking horns, people, it's just, I always wonder how in the world are they doing all this?
They're probably capturing sound for reference, but I would be willing to bet that they're recreating the entire soundscape is recreated post, because why go back and wipe all the background shit out when I can just have the actors come in, ADR the lines, and then build the room tone and build all the noises that I want, right?
Yeah.
I would bet that that's probably 90% of what they're doing.
It has to be, because it was very noisy down there. A lot of noise.
Yeah, a lot of people honking, screaming, and
yeah. And then you had the police station and the firefighter station right up the road. So every hour or less, every 45 minutes, you hear them going. Yeah, it's just like, oh my gosh. Yeah, I got video from the. Oh my God, no. My computer is telling me to restart right now. No, we're not starting my computer. It's not a good time for an update.
That's a terrible time for an update.
Oh my gosh.
Was it the new? Is that the James Gunn Superman? Is that the one? The new one that they're
Yeah.
doing? Or
Yeah.
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 Do you know who they cast for the new Superman? Who is that?
I've never heard of him. I have no idea who he is. I looked him up,
Uh-huh.
and I couldn't recognize him, so I don't know who he is. I was
Oh,
bummed up. It's not my boyfriend, Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
David Corn Sweat.
Do you know
Nathan
who that is?
Fillion's in that movie? What the hell? Really? All right. I'll watch it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess the original Superman, Reeves, his son, made a cameo in the movie. There's a
Really?
lot. They're already spoiling it because they're filming it out in public, and so everybody's taking videos and pictures of the
Right.
whole thing. I have video of everything.
Cleveland, huh? I guess they've chosen Cleveland as Metropolis. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, I think wasn't the original filmed here in Cleveland. I think that's why they came back here to kind of make it like a.
The original Superman from. Okay. I'm
I
not sure.
believe, yeah, I believe it was actually filmed here. Yeah, I don't know for sure, but that's what I heard, and that's probably why they chose to come back.
Interesting. Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm looking that up right now. I'm very filming location. There it is.
Yeah, we had to kind of not redo the sound, but when we were shooting in our fake comic book shop, you remember how echoey it was in there?
Yes.
And our sound editor worked with the various microphones and got it to the point where you don't hear any of that reverb because we were real concerned on set. I remember thinking, is this going to be echoey? And it's like, no, just go ahead and do it, and we'll fix it in post, as you're never say.
Oh, I
We got
hate that
lucky.
saying. I hate that saying so much because that's just basically like, well, we'll just cross our fingers and hopefully when we get all done. But yeah, he did a great job on that, and it does make the room sounds big, like it has a bigger of a booming kind of sound to it, but it's not echoey like the
Yeah.
original
Empty. Yeah.
microphone stuff sounds like. Yeah, it's really good, and I think he did it by basically killing a lot of the boom and using like lavs mostly or something. But he did a good job.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Good to hear.
So how did you find us start working with this? I know you had been working with Eric as far back as El Patron, right? Was that what that short was called?
I did, yeah. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was one of them. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Cliff, I think you worked on. Did you work on? What was the name of that movie? The Black Widow. Did you work on that?
Mm-mm.
No, I thought you did. Okay, never
No.
mind. So I thought that's what I had originally met you at.
No,
Maybe not. Okay.
unfortunately not.
Yeah, no. Okay. So I don't know. I mean, we have a lot of friends in
Mutual friends.
common too. Yeah, like Elisa and her husband from El Patron, and then Jeff. I've known Jeff for a little while as well. Don't remember how exactly I met Jeff. Probably through Elisa as well. Met a lot of people through them. So, and I worked with Elisa with on a few projects. And so that's probably how I met up. And I know that that's when for the PA one on the first one, Elisa called me to just because they needed help, and so I ended up working a day on set doing that at Jeff's house. And then for the second one, or for the one that I was Tanya, Jeff called me because something happened because everybody thought I was still in LA because I moved to LA for a little bit and then I moved back to Tucson and I never told anyone, I guess. So people thought that I was still in LA. So he called me one day and asked me, where are you? And I was like, I'm in Arizona. And I guess something happened to the other girl. She broke a leg or something that was supposed to be Tanya, and they were desperately looking for somebody. So I ended up stepping in. And I'm sorry for whoever that was, but that was it was a lot of fun for me. So.
I can't remember her name, but what was her name?
It was Sarah. Yeah,
Sarah. She did the makeup effects for us, right?
Yeah,
she did
so she's also in the movie in the background in a couple spots. So She's still in there. She just
She's
didn't get
in
to
there.
do her
Still in
main
there.
role.
Okay.
Yeah, she just didn't
But
get her character.
what happened was, if you remember that fake comic shop that we made, it had the most narrowest staircase you could possibly imagine. And we're thinking, how are we going to carry somebody in and out of here who's got a broken
Mhm.
leg? We'll end up with broken legs. So it was kind of like, look, sorry. And then she understood. And then it was meant to be your role. So
Yeah, it
that's
worked out
how it
anyways.
happens
Yeah.
sometimes.
I loved it. I
Yeah.
loved it. I had so much fun with that role. I still have, I should have worn it right now. I still have the shirt. Why didn't I think about it? There was a shirt that you had me wear in one of the scenes. It was a black shirt, and I think it says Marihuanos, who
Oh,
wants
yeah, our
some?
first movie.
You have that shirt. That's fantastic.
Yes, I still have it. I should have worn it. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I wore that in one of the scenes, so I still have it.
Yeah, that makes sense. That tracks. We would put you in something like that.
Yeah. But
So
what else?
outside of acting, is there another field in film that you've been interested in pursuing or have pursued?
I would love to do some directing.
Mm.
I've never tried. I've
Everybody
never.
wants to direct.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to direct because they look at me, they look at us, and that looks easy. They're not really
It
doing
looks like
anything.
fun. Like I could do that.
Just standing around talking and pointing at stuff. It's not really bad.
You just tell actors what to do, and then they do it.
Yes,
It's fun.
it was a lot of fun.
I have seen all the work that directors go through, and sometimes I wonder, could I pull that off? Because it looks like a lot of stress. It looks like a lot of stress, but it's so artistic at the same time, and I'm sure us as an act as actors, when we look at the end results, we get to either be proud of what we did or to say, oh damn, I really messed that one up. But we always are looking forward to the end results and to see what the whole product looks like. So I can only imagine as a director what that would feel at the end when you see all the pieces come together, and then you created that, you did it. And I don't know, I'm interested in that, and I'm interested in maybe one day.
It's an interesting feeling. That's for sure. It's I don't know. I mean, Marty and I don't think we've ever really gotten a film to a point where we're like, yeah, good, we're done. It's always just kind of like escaped at some point from our, it was like, well, we've got the lines coming up. We got this, we got it. We've entered into film festivals. It's got to be finished. So,
Yeah.
I think that, and I've heard this from most people who make direct films, especially most directors, especially on their early films, they just hate their work.
Really?
They shoot it and then they put it all together and they go, I hate this. And then, but then the hate kind of goes away and they start massaging the work and putting the music in and putting the dial. And then suddenly it's like, okay, I can live with this. And then, then when people start to see it and give you feedback, you go, oh, okay, maybe I actually like the movie, but I've read, especially from like online from a lot of filmmakers, they say, yeah, it's really common to kind of hate your first few films. So like to get that first, even now there are directors who are like, yeah, I always hate the first cut. The first cut, I always absolutely hate it. And then we go and we fix it and it's fine.
Wow. Yeah.
It's weird. Yeah.
What a process. But
Mhm.
I'm very intrigued. I would like to try it out and see if if I would like it or not. Producing is also, it looks like not, I wouldn't say fun, because I've also seen how much work producers put in and all the stress they go through, and a lot of
Mhm.
drama, it feels
Mhm.
like.
Yeah, they do.
Herding
So
cats. Yeah.
yeah, but if things work out okay, financially, that's where you want to be as a producer. And so maybe I'm interested in that area for the wrong reasons, but but artistically would be the director part. I would love to try that. I don't
Yeah,
know.
at some part, at some point, the entire part of the point of the process is to make money.
Of course,
It is a monetarily driven industry, right?
it's business, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's all business.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Do you uh so I always ask this question. So, do you like getting feedback from directors when you're working on set? And if so, is there like specific feedback that you've gotten that you found particularly helpful or that you remember over the years?
I do like getting feedback. It's funny. I had never worked with a director who didn't give me feedback until the last film that I worked on in LA about a year ago. I think it was about a year ago, and very he was a very good director, but he was always so focused to feel like that we would end the scene and then I wouldn't hear anything back and I
Hmm.
wouldn't hear and so I started doubting myself. I started thinking maybe I'm not maybe he's just like, oh my God, all right, we're just done with this scene, let's move on, you
Hmm.
know.
Hmm.
And so there was another director there who was more like a second unit director, but sometimes if he would take over depending on who was doing what that day. He wasn't really an AD, but he was there also directing. I don't know what his title was, but I asked him because he used to give me a lot of feedback, and sometimes it was a little funny because I'd be doing my scene and and I could see him from the corner of my eye as I'm doing my thing. He's sitting in the corner going, just nodding his head. And I'm thinking, okay, now that would kind of distract me a little bit, but at least I was getting some feedback. And so I did ask him, I said, what's going on with Paul? Paul is the director that I was not sure if I was doing a good job or not. And he said, no, he said, if he's not telling you anything, that means you're nailing it. You're doing
Hmm.
exactly the way he wants you to. And at first, because we had some scenes that were very hard for me, and he said, I'm going to go into your psyche because he's got a degree in psychology, and he said, I'm going to go into your psyche and I'm going to push you, and I'm going to take you really dark places for this role, so you can perform. But I took I took myself there anyways, and so he didn't really talk to me as much as I thought he would. So I wasn't sure if I was doing a good job or not, but apparently no words was good. No news was good news at the
Hmm.
time.
Hmm.
So, but
Fascinating.
yeah, and that was one of my roles that I had always wanted to play because was a she was a psychopath, my character. She was very evil in a way, but very playful. She liked to play with people's minds, and she liked to get the best out of people. And she, she was a sociopath too. Didn't
Hmm.
care. Very dark, and but she was the playful kind, like almost like you would think. Have you seen, I'm sure you've seen Joker with Phoenix, with
Sure.
Joaquin Phoenix. It was kind of at that level where
Hmm.
it's
Hmm.
like this playful but bad person kind of thing, but then you kind of understand why they feel like that. And so it was a really hard but really fun character. I loved it.
Evil and crazy are always fun to play. I remember when I
Yeah.
was in high school drama, our drama teacher told us that. And I thought, I hadn't really played anything like that yet. And I thought, oh,
Mhm.
that's, yeah, whatever. And then I got a crazy person's role. And I was like, oh, okay. Because there aren't a lot of wrong choices. Like as long as you're if you're playing crazy, you can play crazy a bunch of different ways, right? So just
Absolutely.
find your volume and your tone knobs and turn it the way you
Hmm.
want it and then go for it, right? And
Yeah.
it's a lot more freeing than having to nail this, well, I need to laugh here, I've got to have this specific reaction on this line and so on. It's much freer to me, I felt.
Well, and it's funny because this particular director that I was working with, he wanted things specifically, and there were certain lines that I would laugh because that little evil laugh, and he would come back to me and say, "Okay, I know it's supposed to laugh here. It says on the script to laugh, but I don't want you to laugh. I want you to actually be very serious here." And then on this one I want you to touch your hair, and then on this one I want you to lean back, and then on this line I want you to lean forward. So that was the hard part. So I only not only that I have to tap into my emotions and to other dark areas that I didn't even know I had to be able to play this character. But then I had specific instructions on what what my mannerisms, how he wanted me to
Mm.
play this character.
Okay, so he's really got an idea of your physicality in mind.
Yes, yes. And so he wanted her to be a psycho, but not the loud kind. It was more of a, I don't know what to call it, but she,
Like a simmering rather than a
yeah,
boil. Okay,
exactly.
yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Okay.
yeah. It was a
Yeah.
lot of fun. I can't wait to see it. I haven't seen that film either. They're working on their distribution. And so hopefully in the next few months we can have something. Oops, sorry.
Yes, well, that'll mean you'll probably be in a couple of films next year that are being distributed and out that you can point people to.
Awesome.
Yay.
Yay, right?
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I
It's
know
a
on. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say it's fun to know that you can push yourself to that level of your psyche and go into those dark places and play this evil person and then do the comedy thing like I did
Hmm.
in your film. And
Hmm.
I honestly I find comedy a lot harder than to do like the sinister.
I think it's the hardest art form. I think if you if you don't have comic timing, it's over.
Mhm,
If you don't have timing, you're never gonna be able to play comedy. You
mhm,
have to have innate timing. You drama you can kind of teach people, but you can't teach timing in comedy. You can't teach boom boom. That's not you can't teach that. You either have that or you don't. And so that's why I think it's easier for comedic actors to go into drama than it is for dramatic actors to go into comedy. That would
mhm,
be my
Mm.
personal opinion on that. You see,
Oh,
even like Tom Hanks is a perfect example.
mhm.
You know, bosom
I was
buddies all the way to Saving Private Ryan.
I was
Yeah.
going to say, we've had the luxury on our sets to do a lot of rehearsal ahead of
Hmm.
time, so you'll get a lot of the uh, notes from Cliff or myself ahead of time. So when we're actually rolling, I tend to fall into that. I'm not saying anything unless
Same.
I see something. It's kind of like if you don't
Uh-huh.
hear anything at this point, I've already told you everything that you need to know. But I know on a lot of sets you don't get the luxury of the rehearsal, so you're learning
Mhm,
what the director wants right there as you're shooting it. You might get one run through before they call action.
mhm. Yeah.
With the number of setups that we run, it's usually okay. Set the cameras up, set the lights up, and the actors are usually in front of that stuff or in the middle of it, running lines, and we're giving feedback while everything's being set up. So, like Marty said, you get to the shoot and it's like, okay, perfect, let's move on, or let's do another one for security, and okay, yeah, that's great, let's move on. Hey,
Like
maybe try this.
Like a
Mhm,
good example was when we were shooting the scene with the angry customer talking about,
Mm.
you're supposed to hold this book for me. And Carol hadn't done any rehearsals with us. So she was kind of like, am I doing this right? And I'm every now and then be like, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Keep going, keep going. I need to get in that habit of saying, okay, if you don't hear from me, you're doing great and action. So at least I'm giving that, note. So
Yeah,
We're like
I
children. We do something. We're looking at the director. Did I do right?
exactly.
Did I do it?
yeah,
Did I do
yeah,
More, do more. I don't want to interrupt you. Do more.
it?
yeah. I've learned over the last two films hey, that's great, or excellent,
Mhm,
something at least to say, we're happy. Yeah, we're happy. Let's move on.
mhm.
You did that right.
Yeah.
Do you have? I like to ask this question. It's one of my favorite questions. Do you have a favorite film that's based on music that is not necessarily like a musical, but a movie that's based on music or about music?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Like La Bamba would
La
be an
Bamba. Yeah.
example,
Right.
or that thing you do, or you
This
know.
is gonna be probably very cliche, but Selena. I love
Oh, that's a
Selena.
great one.
Yeah. It's one of those movies I've seen a million times, and I probably I probably talk, when you're talking
Mm-hmm.
with the actors and you're just
Mm-hmm.
repeating every line, I probably know every single line in there. And
Yeah.
then the songs, I grew up with all of her songs. So it's just an amazing movie. I'll watch that one a million times. I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one that launched Jennifer's career. That was a big
Yes.
one. She did a great job in it too. I mean, that was early on when she really was given 100%. Was really
Mhm.
killing it.
I remember when they were doing the auditions for that because I was in Tucson and I was doing theater and doing stuff like that. And then we went into a workshop. I don't remember. I was at Pima College and we were doing some sort of workshop. And the guy who was giving the workshop, which I don't remember his name, it was a million years ago. He he looked at me and he said, "Oh, you know what? They're doing Selena auditions." And he knew somebody who was in the production, and he said, "I think you should audition." So I got his information, and I was so excited
Wow.
to audition for Selena. But then before I could even make it to the audition or anything, that's when they said, "Okay." They had already auditioned hundreds of girls. They were still auditioning, and then they finally cut it off and they said, "No, we're just going to hire somebody." And we didn't know who it was at the time. But yeah, I didn't get to audition, but I was kind of trying to get my way up there. That would've been fun. Imagine? That would
Well,
have been awesome.
yeah, right? You
Yeah.
would be on this podcast right now, that's
Here
for
we are,
sure.
we'll be talking to you right
Shit. That's yeah, that's amazing. And it's been so long that I mean the woman that killed her is gonna get out of jail soon.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. I think
She's
they're
she's
doing a
about to
show.
It's been
yeah,
almost 30 years. You know?
yeah, it's been
Yeah.
almost 30 years.
Whoa.
I don't think she's gonna survive on the outside, dude. I think somebody's gonna get her.
You think so? You think that
A
people are
lot
in
of
her
Selena.
field?
There's a lot of Selena fans out there, man. Who knows?
And I know, I think they're doing a show because I saw something
Oh,
where
really?
yeah, I saw
Mm-hmm.
something, I don't remember where, but it popped up in my feed somewhere. And they were interviewing her, and she was talking about the truth that she said that she was finally, now that she's coming out of prison, that she was going to talk about the truth, whatever the truth was. And so I don't know. I don't
Interesting.
know. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, that was a terrible thing that happened to that young girl. Shit, I thought I remember her being very big when I was around that time, and that being a big deal that she was killed. So
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing how there's still, I auditioned. I also actually did audition for this. It was it Netflix? Might have been Hulu. I don't know, but they did a show recently, a couple years ago, based on her life as
Oh,
well.
okay.
And it was a series. It was a serious show, and I auditioned for that one as well.
Wow.
Obviously, I didn't get it.
Again, you wouldn't be here if you did.
Yeah, that was really good too. But now nothing replaces the movie. The movie was really good. I love that.
Yeah, movie. I thought they did I remember the fans in the community really thinking, oh, you got it right. Like you really nailed it.
Mhm.
I found it interesting too that she, Latino raised in Texas, right?
Mhm.
And when she gets big and goes back to Mexico, that they kind of give her shit for the way she talks. She talks Spanish, and that she had to kind of take lessons and kind of beef that up and all that. I thought that was very interesting the way she had to straddle these two. Because she was about to break into the American market. If you remember, she was just about to get big in the English singing American market. She'd been started to dominate that other market, but just on her way up to that boom. It was just close, maybe another year.
Yeah.
And she'd have been that big star.
And a lot of us, even though, the Mexican community back then were giving her a hard time about not speaking Spanish very well, there was still a big chunk of us that didn't even know she spoke English. So when the music in English came out, we were like, oh my gosh, she learned English really fast.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Yeah. Well, that's a good movie. That's a good choice. It's a good one. Yeah.
That's one of my favorites. Yeah. But in musicals, I'm a big musical. I love musicals, and recently I got some tickets from work, and I went to see a Broadway musical. I'd never seen a Broadway musical before, and I got a chance to go see Back to the Future. The
oh
musical.
My God, what was that like?
It was mind blowing. It was the best. I never seen anything like that. The acting was great, obviously. But it had special effects. Like they had like the car, the DeLorean, they had it where it was floating and it was moving and they made it look like it was flying and the sparks. And It was out of this world. I
That's
recommend it.
amazing.
Whoever, if you ever have a chance to go see it, they did an outstanding job. I don't know how they did half the stuff they did. All the set changes, they were so quick, and it was beautiful. It was perfect. I loved it absolutely. So
Back to the Future. Wow.
yeah,
Hmm.
Back to the Future. You'd never think that would be a musical.
No,
They made it into
no,
a
I would
musical.
no, never.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you know the comedy was perfect and everything was good. Everything was really good. It was beautiful.
Did it just cover the first movie?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, okay, interesting.
yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, because then then when that one goes, you can go, hey, we're going to do Back to the Future 2 as a musical,
That
and
imagine.
then hey, we're going to do 3, and then you can watch the trilogy over a weekend or something, right?
Yeah,
Skip through New York City and see them all in one.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was amazing.
3 would be a lot more ZZ Top oriented, wouldn't it? A lot more.
Yes.
Well, I'm sure we're not the only people to think of the idea of the musical of part 2 and 3. So,
Oh yeah, I'm sure. That was my first thought too. Yeah, imagine.
so is there a dream role that you've been pursuing other than trying to get into one of these Selena movies?
um, you know, I think I could say that I've done the one that I wanted to do, which was the villain of the story, the
Mm.
psychopath. You know,
Hmm. Hmm.
that was a lot of fun. I've always wanted to try something like that because I always get the the opposite of the role, and so that was I think that was if I could do it again, imagine doing a bigger role for Hollywood or something like that. That's like the sinister sociopath. That would be amazing.
Hmm.
But I'm also I also want to do an action film. I
Mm.
want to do, I want to
That makes
be
sense.
the badass of the story or even the villain. I don't care, but I want guns and all that stuff. So
Some
I'm
of my favorite
actually.
some of my favorite action movies are the female driven ones. They're some
Oh
of
yeah,
those. Oh yeah, the I'm having trouble thinking of any right now, but Hannah comes to mind about
I know.
the young girl whose father's leaves her out in the wilderness by herself. Have you seen that one? And she's
I
out there,
think I have. I think I have.
fantastic. It's
Yeah.
really Cyrus Ronan's in it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I like those. I like those
Yeah.
the female driven ones just because I think it turns the whole thing, the whole action
Hmm.
genre upside down on its head,
Yeah.
which is a cool
I
idea.
My favorite right now that I can watch over and over is The Old Guard with Charlize.
Oh, mm-hmm,
I love Charlize Theron, and
mm-hmm.
they do an outstanding job in that movie. And they're doing another one. I would love to get on that movie. Come on, manager.
Gunpowder Milkshake. Did you see Gunpowder Milkshake?
No, no.
It's really good. It's on Netflix, and it's got the girl, one of the girl who plays the lead in oh, I can't believe I'm blanking on her name, but she's in Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Oh, I don't.
She plays the love interest in Scott Pilgrim versus the World. I can't remember her name, but yeah, she's a badass in the movie. It's really really
Nice.
good. Gunpowder Milkshake's definitely worth a
Okay,
watch.
I'm gonna watch it now.
Hmm.
Thank you.
You'll like that one.
Of course, Furiosa was the
Furiosa. I
big
haven't seen
theater.
it.
Yeah,
I
that's the
haven't
thing
seen
is I
it.
don't think any of us went to go see it. I haven't seen it yet either. Here it's good, but
Hmm.
Really? I don't know. I love the first one. I had Charlize Theron
that
on the
first one
first
was
one.
good. Yeah.
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 And so I don't know. I have mixed feelings about that one, but I might watch it when it comes out on streaming or
Yeah.
something.
Oh, La Femme Nikita,
Oh yeah,
Underworld.
I've seen it.
Um,
Oh yeah, Underworld, one
um,
of my favorites.
there's some good ones in there.
Hmm.
Some really good ones. Like I said, I like that genre especially. It's really
Yeah,
fantastic.
it looks like fun. Imagine being in one of the Avengers and just
I,
doing
I
all
mean, it's not the kind of movie I would want to make, honestly,
Oh yeah,
because it's really repetitive to do that.
mhm,
Like you got to do these stunts over and over and over again, and you got to get these exact angles, and you got to get these exact timings, and it's a I mean, it's intricate and it's interesting, but at the same time, it's just kind of probably not the type of movie I really want to make. You know what I
mhm,
mean? Like, I mean, maybe once, but just to say I've done it and that type of thing. But I don't know. It's not really. It's just
It's
not
different.
really the kind of movie I want to make. Yeah, it's a
Mhm.
different way of making a movie. It's like making a sci-fi movie with a bunch of green screens and tennis balls and on sticks and shit like that. Where you're like, okay, this is a totally different type of filmmaking than what I'm normally doing. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
we did low budget semi action at one point for one movie, but everything else has been just people standing around talking to each other. It's been our
Yeah.
movies, so
Yeah, hopefully we'll
low impact.
punch that up a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah, we
they've
get a
gotten
little
better.
bigger
They've gotten
budget by the
better.
stunt people.
Yeah,
So.
they've gotten better. We've pulled some stunts off and done a few other things in our last couple of movies that we've tried to stretch ourselves a bit.
Oh, yeah, we're crash pads. Remember when Eric didn't make the crash pad and his knee hit the ground that one time during one of the many slaps in Revenge of Zoe? But he was a trooper and he got right back up and finished
Oh
the
my
scene.
gosh.
Oh, that's right. He did do that,
So
didn't
we
he?
have had a few little lumps and bruises along the way.
Wow.
The stunt man who injured himself.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever gotten injured or anything in any of the films. I've been, the whole it's too cold or it's too hot or whatever, but never an injury.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
So outside of film, what's another creative outlet that keeps you busy?
A creative outlet?
Is there like any kind of like hobbies that you take up a lot of your time other than acting or pursuing
I
making
wish.
movies?
I need to pick up on stuff. I was thinking about picking up guitar and doing some guitar, and nowadays you can learn everything on YouTube.
Sure.
True.
Well, a lot of it. Yeah.
I would love to get myself back into singing. I used to sing. Before I started getting into acting, singing was my love. I grew up telling everybody I was going to be a famous singer and I was going to make it big. And so I did a lot of choirs and I did some bands and performings and stuff like that. And then I got into acting and I kind of let go of the singing part and I just focused more on the acting. But
You're trying to get into those musical related projects.
See?
that
Yeah.
would be amazing. Yeah, that'd be amazing. So, but yeah, my voice is not a singing voice right now. I have not done any of that. It is not, and I sing by myself in the shower or whatever. But no, I would need to take classes all over again and retrain my voice.
Right.
But yeah, that would be amazing if I could get back into it. But right now, it's just takes all my time is the kids and the job, you know. And then we moved up here. I haven't really auditioned for anything because I told my manager that I didn't know if I was going to have time for. And there was no traveling allowed at first, but now they're being more flexible. So I think I can finally start doing a little bit of maybe some auditions or some local stuff here.
Well, I've heard a lot of stuff gets shot in Ohio.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. Yeah.
Pennsylvania's right next door, and then
Mhm.
New York's even closer. And
Mhm.
Jersey, New York are right there. So
Yeah.
you're in a pretty good area for all that. And Chicago's to your other side. So
Yeah.
Ohio is where we won Best Feature because that's where the origin
That's true.
Film Festival
Really?
was. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Another actor in Tucson moved here at the same time I did, and we ended up within 30 to 45 minutes away from each other without knowing. He posted a picture and he said something about Ohio, and I was like, "What are you doing in Ohio?" He said, "I moved here." I'm like, "I just moved here too." So, what are the chances do people from Tucson end up moving up here around the same time? It's
wild.
crazy. So, but he's a little bit more involved with acting right now, and he's there. Everybody says that there's a lot of work over here. I guess I should start jumping into it. I have a film that we're working on that it's not 100% official yet. We're still working on things, but it's an action film and it's a futuristic, very futuristic. Is Can't really say a whole lot about it, but we're working on it, and hopefully within the next, I don't know. They said 3 months, but it could be 6. Hopefully within the next 3 to 6 months we can lock something in and see if we can. Yeah, it's in the early stages.
It's in the budgeting pre-production budgeting stages, that type of
It's
thing.
yeah.
Mhm. Yep.
So
Oh, been there many times.
well,
Going
yeah.
back there very soon.
I was gonna
fact.
say,
Yeah.
It could be a year, 2 years, 5 years. Who
Mm.
knows? You never know. They, the producer. Obviously, he says 3 months. I was like, yeah, I know how that works. I know what 3 months are like in this industry because they don't have.
Sometimes it takes years and years to get a film made.
yeah.
I think Marty and I, we like to do it about every 2 to 3 years. If we can knock one out about every 2 to 3 years, we're pretty happy.
If we could,
That's
yeah.
good. That's a good pace. Yeah.
These last couple have been it's either some unintentional roadblock or COVID, for fuck's
Well,
sake.
yeah, that was
primarily,
the
which
thing, yeah.
or something else that's kept us from
But
keeping on it.
if it wasn't for COVID, Gia wouldn't be in the movie.
It's true. It's very
Because
true.
the other actress
That's
wouldn't have broken her leg because it had been a year before. So it's just weird how it all kind of works out in a way.
It is weird. It is
Yep.
weird. Life is funny. But
Gia, do you have anything that you want to plug? You want to talk about anything you're working on, or other than this this upcoming action sci-fi futuristic thing
no,
you got?
just that. Just crossing fingers because I would be the lead on that one.
Mm.
Hey,
And yeah, and it's like she's like the hero of the story and very futuristic. Is a very, there's like aliens and stuff like that. A lot of green screen,
a lot
a
of
lot
green
of
screen. Okay.
yeah. And
Okay.
so I'm excited because I've never done anything like that. And I'm also there's another girl that I know that she lives in Florida, and we're friends. And it's somehow she also ended up getting cast, if you want to call it that. But she's being looked at for my character has like it's not a sidekick, but it's like a companion, an AI companion,
Uh-huh.
and it's almost like have you seen Halo? And Halo's
Sure.
got like a companion and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And it's an AI. It's kind of like that, and
Uh-huh.
she's being looked at for that role. So, and I would love to work with her. We're friends, and we were friends for a few years, and somehow she ended up getting involved in the same project without I did not,
Fascinating.
we didn't have anything to do with it. It just happened like that. So, and it would
Huh.
be amazing. It would be really good. So I'm really looking forward to that. And hopefully we can hear some good news soon and start shooting.
Yeah. Well,
Great.
I wish you the best of luck. I hope the money comes through, and I hope you're a big star because, to be honest, it just helps our films. When we go, yeah, you just need to look at her past work. She was great in our films too.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be amazing.
Did you have any favorite moments on not just on our sets, but just on sets in general?
Oh gosh, there's a lot of them.
Yeah, that's a big question.
Yeah, oh my gosh, there's a lot of favorite moments, and that one of the things that I'm gonna take it a little bit in a different direction, but one of the things that were not my favorite back when I first started was that I used to get very method into the character. And so if the character had a lot of drama and traumas that it needed to dig from, it would take me 3 days to get out of this character.
Oh,
I would
yeah.
go, yeah,
Uh,
once the production was over, I would go home and I'd be in deep depression for like 3 days. And there was a film that I was working on called La Motochora. It's a short, and we actually filmed it in Bisbee. And it was one night that I just couldn't get into the character, and um, I talked to Eric, uh, who's in your films, and he spoke to me for about an hour on the phone. This was in the middle of the night because I was really struggling that night and I couldn't get into it. So it was the opposite. I couldn't get into it. And he started giving me some strategies on how to get into the character. But then he also started talking to me about how, because I told him, last time I got this deep into a character, it takes me 3 days to get out. And so he started giving me kind of like pointers on how to get in and also get out of character before you leave set so that you're not struggling with that when you go home. So I think that's been a very important conversation that I had during set. I was, we were filming, we're in the middle of filming this film, and it's probably one of my favorites because it's still to this point helping me so much. The last film that I did, where she's a sociopath, imagine if I would have been where I was.
You can't get out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not good for you. And so I was able to be on set and turn it on moments before getting into the scene, and then turn it off when I was done with the scene so that I can be okay. And yeah, you're rehearsing in your head or whatever, but you're leaving kind of your emotions are a little bit more tamed so that you're not all the time being in this really crazy mode. And
Right.
so I think that's probably one of my favorite moments where Eric talked to me and he taught me a lot that night, and it's helping me still now. That was years ago, so it's helping me a lot. So if
Eric's a helpful dude. That's
yeah.
that's part of his makeup.
So if he's listening, thank you, Eric. Eric Schumacher.
Schmucks.
Yeah, but that was a good memory. Thank you.
Nice.
What about you? What are your favorite moments?
Jesus, I have too many. I mean, I've made a bunch of films now. At this point,
Wow.
I mean,
A lot of my favorite moments are when we all look at each other and realize we finished.
yeah,
That's
All
always
that, after all that
standout moment. It's
craziness.
like, we did it. We got to the end. But there's usually something fun that happens every day if you're lucky.
Yep.
A good moment.
yeah. I think the moment on Revenge where we pulled off the crash pad with Bradford was probably one of my favorite
Speaking
moments.
of stunts, yeah.
Where it was, because it was really the first real stunt we've ever done. It involved, him working with another actor, and we didn't have to shoot it more than once. It went off without a hitch, and it was kind of perfect. So I still think fondly back on that. It's God, we so lucky, and everything worked out so perfectly, and we just moved on and acted like nothing had happened, and it was great. Shooting in the bar. I mean, I like, if you gave me a choice and said, look, you just want to work, if you just want to be a director and go to a set and then direct, and then as soon as it's done, go to another set and direct another movie, and then so on with like a week in between, I'd do that for the rest of my life. I'd take a week off, show up at another set, shoot another movie. I would do that, over and over and over again. I love that more than anything. I love being on set. I love working with actors. I love working with crews, all that stuff. That's where I'm the happiest.
That's
my
beautiful.
ever. Yeah. So.
You create a little family for the moment that you're on set, and then you all get divorced when the movie is done because you don't see each other ever.
Well, we tend to work with, these last 3 pictures, we've worked with a lot of the same people, so we're very close to. I mean, we have an actress that worked with us. We cast her in our first film when she was 13.
Oh wow!
And she's got a baby, and she's a doctor now. So yeah.
That's awesome.
So
you're watching her grow. It's like you're watching
literally.
Her.
It's fucking wild. She came down. She got engaged to her husband and came down to have her bridal shower and shot the movie while she was down in Tucson to have her bridal shower. She kind of made a whole thing out of it so she could come down and be available to shoot.
Wow.
She's as committed to be in these pictures as we are. It's really pretty great. But yeah. So I mean. You're right. It does kind of break up, but weirdly, we tend to have this circle of people that we continue to sort of talk to and you work and it's like a little family.
That's the great thing about Tucson. The community there, the film community, is you just keep working with the same people, and it's amazing. That's what I did for a few years. Yeah. But I would love to get cast in a series also, because imagine something that goes on for season after season.
Oh God,
and you just create this family. This
10 years on The Big Bang Theory or Frasier or something like that. Yeah, I can't honestly. I mean, that would just be, then it would really be like losing a family, where you're just like, well, shit. Now what am I going to
do? Yeah. That's
crazy. Well, Gia, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it. It's good to see you. You look great.
Thank you.
Look happy in Ohio. So
I do like
fantastic.
it here. I do like it here.
Good.
It's if you know people would tell me, "Oh, you moved to Ohio," but no. Listen, I moved to a very nice area of Ohio, and we have waterfalls 2 miles away from here, and I'm out in the country. You know, you see my background; it's all green, and we're on
Hmm.
5 acres of land, and we have a river in the backyard that
Wow.
runs all the way into the big lake. So
Sheesh.
yeah, there's a lot to do here too. I mean,
Nice.
obviously I love
If you're
Tucson
an
because
outdoor person, that area is really
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's gorgeous. I love
Mhm.
it. I'm having a lot of fun here, and I'm
Good.
enjoying it a lot. So I think it was a very good move for us to move up here. It was crazy last minute move. I was actually in the process with Tucson PD to be an investigator with them when I got a call for this job, and so
Wow.
we made a decision to move up here instead, and I dropped out of the Tucson PD.
Wow. My dad worked for the Tucson PD for 14 years. He was a programmer. Um,
Okay,
he set up their 911 system, um,
nice.
all that type of stuff. He wrote the code that actually pulled the address back and displayed it to the dispatcher when they called, that type of thing.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
so they immediately knew where the caller was calling from, things like that. So
nice.
he's been in, what do they call that? The public sector, public safety sector, I guess is what they
Hmm.
call it. But he's been in
Hmm.
that for his entire career.
Mm.
Wow,
Yeah,
yeah.
interesting.
Um,
Yeah, he did a lot of interesting work. So yeah. But anyway, enough about him. Back to you. Again, thanks so much for coming on. And
no, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Marty, you have anything else before we jump out of
Oh,
here?
just glad you got to join us. Yeah. I know it
Yeah,
took
that's
us a
great.
couple of months to find a date, but we finally found one.
I know. It's my job, my work schedule fluctuates. It doesn't fluctuate a lot now. I was
Hmm.
contracting for a while, so that was crazy. But now that I work for the same, I work for a family, and so it's a little bit more consistent. But every once in a while, they throw us a curveball. So. Like I was supposed to work today, and then last night I found out I'm off, so it worked out. It worked out perfect.
Right.
Yeah. So thank you. I appreciate it. Keep me
Yep.
posted with anything else you got going on. And
Yeah,
oh my
we may actually have you back on as a guest for the talking portion,
God. Okay.
where we give you a movie to watch, you give us a movie to watch,
Wow,
and
nice.
then all three of us get together and we
And
talk
we
about
talk
it. We
about the
talk about
movies. Yeah.
I
talk about the
love
movies.
it. That's a good idea.
Yeah, it might be kind of fun, right? So
Yeah.
we maybe it'll probably be 6 months from now, something like that. We'll probably get
Okay.
back in touch with you and try to do that.
Yeah, that'd be
Be fun.
great. Thank you.
Awesome.
I'm on. Yeah.
Well, Jill, it's great to see you. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Nice seeing you too. Thank you. Have a good night.
You
We'll
too.
see ya.
All right. Bye.
Support the show on Buzzsprout for only $3 a month. Give us a 5-star review on Spotify or the platform of your choice. And be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube page.